Hi, this is Trey Pass. Welcome to my review of Swamp Thing, episode 7. It's entitled Brilliant Disguise. Okay, and this episode picks up where episode 6 left off, where Abby, because of I guess they would call it these pollens things that Alec produced from his hand, or Swamp Thing produced from his hand, Abby could see him as Alec Holland. Okay, and they go around explaining it in this episode that's how, because of these toxins that are going off in these polyps that he produced from his body, she can see him as Alec. So that's just, I guess, a nice fancy way of them having the actor who plays Alec Holland be in the episode more than he normally would be. Anyway, so they're talking about things and stuff, and he tells her that there's a darkness in the swamp, a kind of a rot, he calls it. And she actually wants to go see it. She said because that may be the key to helping find a cure for him. He really doesn't want to see it, but she charges full ahead, and they basically go out to see it. And also at the same time, we have Avery Sutherland and Maria Sutherland getting ready to host a dinner for a rich investor that's coming down, and they're getting everything is ready, and Marie is in good spirits and stuff, and she's preparing meals and stuff, and Avery's feeling happy that she's up and participating in everything. When they get a knock at the door, and it's the sheriff, Lucille, and she says, and she pulls Avery to the side, and we know that she has been fooling around with him for years, and she pulls him to the side and basically tells him in private, out of earshot of Maria, that, listen, my son Matt saw Alec Holland. He's alive. And of course, she's mad at him for getting her son involved in murder and stuff. And she says, listen, he's alive out there. My son's seen him. So you got to have to come with me so we can take care of this so there's no loose ends with Alec Holland. And he said, listen, I'm getting ready to host this dinner for this big investor. She said, come on, I'll have you back plenty of time. So he tells a convenient lie to his wife, Maria, that he has to do something, and they head off to supposedly kill Alec Holland to tie up those loose ends. Okay, and at the same time, Jason Woodrow, the scientist, he's preparing to get ready to go to this dinner because he's going to be one of the speakers, of course, to this rich investor to tell him what he's found and what he's discovered in his report. Okay, that's got this investor coming, and his wife is talking to him and telling him she wished that they could go back to him teaching and all this stuff. And he says, listen, I'm close, and once you get this funding, I can find a cure for your Alzheimer's. And that's we can tell that's his own motivation for doing it. Jason, he wants to cure his wife who has this kind of advanced form of Alzheimer's. So so he heads off for that. And also at the same time, we cut back to Alec and Abby, and they're looking around, and he's telling her that they're doing this, that there's this rot in the swamp and stuff, and that he can feel it. And he's basically telling her all this stuff that he's in touch with these more emotions now. That now he's become Swamp Thing and stuff. And she keeps pushing on. He really doesn't want to take her, but she keeps pushing on. When then she gets actually attacked by some darkness in the swamp, and he has to rescue her from it. And she gets kind of infected, and he takes her back to the lab. And she's really, suffering and in pain, and it looks like she's, getting an infection spreading on her. And they, sit there discussing what to do. And she said there's this plant that can stop the infection and stuff. And he literally, the swamp responds to him and brings that flower to him, and he actually gets her to eat it, and it heals her and stops the infection. Okay. Now, at the same time, we have Avery going out in the swamp with Lucille looking for Alec, to kill him. Okay, and they're talking about their past and stuff, running on the boat and stuff. And, they're moving out, and then all of a sudden Avery turns a gun on her and says, listen, I know you. He said, you wouldn't bring me out here. Where's your partner? And he's figured out that she's brought him out there to take care of him because she's pissed at him for getting her son involved with the Alec Holland murder. Okay, and of course, she's saying, she's telling him, no, I wasn't going to do this to you. I thought you said you loved me. But she's basically just delaying him. And then, sure enough, her son Matt comes and knocks Avery out and takes the gun from him. Okay, and their plan is to kill him. And they, she brought him out there because she's pissed that he got her son, you know, involved in this. And just when he's getting ready to to kill him, and Avery Sullivan says, "What, you got to kill your own father?" And of course that freezes Matt in his tracks. He says, "What, father?" And she said, "Yeah. What do you think? You think I took her word for it when she told me that you weren't mine? I had some a DNA test run on the side, and you are my son." Okay. And while he's Matt is arguing with his mother, Avery pulls out a knife, stabs Matt, and then jumps into the water. He gets shot before he falls into the water by Lucille, and she's shooting in the water, and he doesn't come back up. So they just assume that that he's dead, and she kind of patches him up and said, "Let's go, let's go back, take you back." Okay, and so they go back, and then at the same time we cut back to Alec and Abby, and she's telling him that she really wants to help him, and that that she's really they have a moment basically where she said this is like where she can actually see him as his real self, and of course she she kisses him, but then he's kind of reserved about it, and he the polyps things are starting to wear off, so she's going to see him as Swamp Thing again, and he basically tells her don't come back, Abby, maybe this is my destiny to be this thing, to heal the swamp and to be out here. Maybe that's my destiny. I don't want you to come. I want you to go and don't come back. And she reluctantly leaves. But then we see, she's driving and she's talking to Liz, her friend Liz, on the phone, and she says, "Alec told me not to, to come back, but I'm going to Atlanta," because she did take some samples when she was out there of the rot, and she says she's going to Atlanta to get the full resources of the CDIC, and she's going to come back and she's going to help. She's going to get a cure for Alec. So she's on her way to Atlanta, and then we cut back to Maria, Avery's house, where she's hosting the dinner with the scientist Jason Woodrow and the big time investor and his wife, and Maria, and he starts to explain it, but he gets all this technical jargon involved in it, and the investor's not even having it, and he's still pissed that Avery is not there. But then Maria kind of smooth talks him through it, and she kind of smooth talks him into to accepting the pro, and he actually signs on to be an investor. Okay, so it works out with him, and then later, after everybody's left, we see Lucille and Matt come back to her house. They come through the kitchen window with a doctor, and Maria lets them in, and then we find out, she explains them that we took care of it, and then we find out that actually this was a plan with Maria and Lucille and Matt to kill Avery, and for her to take over, for Maria to take over and be in charge of everything. So she was in on the plot to kill her husband too. So, which we didn't know, which was a nice twist in it, because we didn't know that she was involved in it. Because it was kind of weird when we saw her, Lucille and her son Matt coming to the house, I said, why are they coming to the Sutherland house? That makes no sense. But it makes sense if she was involved in it. And basically Maria says, okay, you take care of it. And Lucille tells her, listen, you come a couple hours, you come and report Avery missing, and then they'll declare him dead, and you're in charge of everything now. You'll be in charge of your company now. And she tells her, okay, I will, and never come back to my house. But so we find out that she is involved, and then of course later we find out that Avery ain't dead. He comes popping out of the water, barely alive, but he's alive. So things are getting interesting. Like I said, this show is just really, really good, and just we just got 3 more episodes to go, and I really wish another company picks this show up, because this show is getting really good, and it's a shame that they would have to cancel this, because I want to see a second season of this really bad. But this show is really good. The acting and the writing is just so good in this show. Okay, just can't end with 1 season, so I'm hoping that it doesn't. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you've seen Swamp Thing episode 7 called Brilliant Disguise, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below, and if you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below. I'll have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram in the description box, as well as a link to my other channel, All Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trade Pastor saying so long and take care.